Welcome to Discover Indie Film. I'm Jeff Howard, and I've got Cate Fogarty with me in person. Hey, Cate.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for being here. So, you're here because you wrote and directed Baby Husband, which was at Filmmakers Los Angeles in 2025. In fact, we did the world premiere
That's
of
right.
the film in June of 2025 at Filmmakers Los Angeles. And actually, it's going to hold this. You may not know this, but that festival is going to hold a forever spot in my heart because that was the last festival that I got to do Q&A moderation.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, and I got to do your film.
Yeah, you were my Q&A host.
I was your host, and that was what I loved doing most about this whole festival running gig for the first 8 years. And then year 9, we went to 3 screens at once, and the level of entropy was too high, and everyone on the staff after that festival that you were at said, we need you in the lobby. You can't disappear into the theater for 6 hours. And I admitted that they were right. But we found lots of other good moderators. So
Yeah.
But anyway, you'll be one of my last, like as far as in-theater moderation.
Well, I'm so honored. You were such a great moderator. And yeah, it's hard to be the guy in charge because then sometimes you don't get to do the fun stuff.
You don't get to do the fun stuff. And you come out, and although it was worse to come out of the theater and like have someone tell me, oh, we had this problem and we did that. And I'm like, you did what?
Oh, no.
Danny, I shouldn't talk this. So anyway, we're not here to talk about the festival or me. We're here to talk about you. And so I assume you're still on the festival circuit with it.
I am, but Film Invasion was the only one we've gotten into so far.
I want to say shut the fuck up. That's fucking ridiculous.
I mean, I agree. But it's an unusual watch perhaps for people. And, I'm not sure that I maybe picked the best festivals to submit to, but we'll see.
That's true. Yeah. You never, look, I don't know what it's like to be on your side of it, really. Like, I didn't deal with, when I was involved in festivals, it was the 90s.
Yeah.
So from the filmmaker side, so like, I honestly have no clue. But now you make me want to like look up and like read off some of our juror comments because they're so positive.
Well, thank you. And I'll add too, like this is my first time submitting to Film Invasion and I was so impressed by the festival and it's definitely going to be on my list going forward. Like It was really one of the best festivals I've been to.
Thank you. I mean, we put it on our T-shirts that we're the festival that gives a shit.
Yeah.
and we really do care.
Yeah.
Like we do. We care about the blocks and we care about the films and the filmmakers and whenever staff show me that they don't care, we got to get rid of them. So hey. But thank you for the kind words.
Absolutely.
And I still think that any festival that didn't take this film is ridiculous because it's such a good premise, and it's funny the whole way through.
Thank you so much. I agree.
and yeah, I mean, I guess I cannot waste too much time of your podcast talking about my disappointment that other festivals don't embrace it, but my goodness.
Yeah, I mean, I think, it's comedy especially is subjective, art is subjective. And also, you don't know what's on their slate if it goes with what they're already programming, things like that. But in general, I think they're wrong as well.
Yeah. Well, anyway, and the funny thing is I was just asking about the festival circuit because I assume it's not available online for people to watch
It is
yet.
not quite yet. Yeah.
So if and when you release it online, feel free to fire off an email to me and say, and we'll put a link to it so that anyone who listens to this, because it's very funny. Sometimes people will just like start binging this podcast and like, I think you're going to be like around number 640.
Oh my goodness.
Or 320 because each person does 2 podcasts.
Yes, I see.
But like a couple, like this summer, I looked at the numbers and someone in Singapore like listened to all 600 in like a month. So
That's impressive.
So that's when it's cool for that person to be able to click a link and watch the film that we're talking about that I'm so mad at other festivals about.
Yeah.
So there you go.
I think it'll be available soon. I think we're towards the end of the run, and I'm not sure I'm going to keep it in the festivals too long because I love it and I just want everybody to see it.
Yeah, exactly. Well, then we can discuss it, the film, more specifically when we get to it. But I'll just ask about your personal history because I'm eternally grateful as a festival runner when people are making original, smart, great films. And I certainly know that you did not make an indie short for any purposes other than expressing some ideas and doing some artistic expression. And in your case, being entertaining with comedy, right? So, my joke is that no one makes a indie short and rubs their hands together when it's done and go, okay, I'll be able to add a swimming pool when this hits the internet. You know what I mean? Like,
wouldn't that be lovely?
Like I know it's such a, so I mean, you are truly doing it for the love of the art form.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I'm grateful that people like yourself are doing that, or we would not have a good festival at all.
Well, thank you so much. Yeah, I mean, short films are interesting because they're so unique, because unless they're a proof of concept, they just exist for this small niche audience of film festival viewers, audience members, or, friends and family, or who you can get to watch it online. And it's definitely a labor of love. And usually I think, at least for myself, it's so much work to make a short film that I have to really want to say something and feel pretty strongly about what I want to say. And that's how I felt about this one for sure.
Well, excellent. Well, we'll talk about it. We'll talk about it a little bit. But so I asked you before we started recording where you grew up, but when did you get, and so you grew up in Minnesota?
Yes, well, sort of. So I was born in Minnesota, lived there till I was about 12, and then my family bought a sailboat and we moved to the Caribbean and lived on the sailboat for a few years, and then we moved back to Minnesota. And since then I've kind of lived all over the place and have finally landed in LA.
Was that the greatest experience possible?
Yeah, I mean, in a lot of ways, yes. But when you're in it, you don't sometimes realize how amazing it is until other people are like, that is pretty cool. But I love sailing. I grew up sailing in Minnesota. There's a lot of sailing because we have so many lakes. And so I really loved it and enjoy traveling and all of that. But it is also being in 400 square feet with your family nonstop for years. And kind of in, sort of in the wilderness, because there's a lot of times when you don't see other people. So we watched a lot of movies.
I was going to ask.
And read a lot of books.
But also I would assume you dock with not too infrequently and get to experience other cultures and things.
Yeah, we didn't dock so much. We anchored.
Yeah.
It's just a tiny difference, but it just means that you have to drive to town, basically. You can't just walk to town. But yeah, I mean, we went to something like, I don't even remember the number, but I want to say like 30 different countries are in the Caribbean that we went to. So as a kid, that was pretty cool, and learned Spanish and French and saw a whole part of the world that a lot of people don't get to see.
That is extremely cool.
Yeah.
And were you a creative kid?
I was. So I started writing stories and things like that when I was very young. And the air is so bad in LA that I'm having like throat issues.
For sure. In fact, while you're answering this question, I'm going to listen to you while I get you a pitcher to refill your water.
Oh, thank you so much.
Because it's right behind you, but I'll get it while you talk.
Okay, great. So I was always into writing and weird, funny poems and stories. I love to make people laugh. And then I think what really got me into filmmaking was my dad got a a camcorder when I was 9 years old, I think. And it was my favorite toy in the whole world. And my sister and I would just make talk shows and music videos. And anybody that remembers the show Family Ties, like I did my own version of Family Ties where I wasn't in it. I just wrote and directed it.
And did your sister have to play all the? Oh, right.
I
so
got
friends,
all my friends.
You pulled friends in. Yeah.
Yeah. And my dad was my DP and my editor. In camera editing on a camcorder, and that continued when we moved to the Caribbean. Like I said, we didn't have television because there was no TV most of the time, but we had 75 movies on board, and we just watched those movies over and over again every day. And I mean, not all 75 every day, but we watched a lot of them. So there's like a chunk of movies in the 90s that I'm very familiar with because I've watched all of them upwards of 15 times each.
Yeah. And you had the video camera on the boat too?
Yeah. Yeah. So we mostly in the Caribbean, we just did like home movies and stuff like that. But
right, because you didn't have neighborhood kids to use as your cast and everything.
Not so much. I mean, there were kids there occasionally, but we were doing other things. And yeah, but I did a lot of writing and and looking back on it, it took me a long time because I'm from Minnesota and there's not a big film industry there. I thought my path would be novelist and short story writer. And it wasn't until I lived in Norway when I was looking for a writing class and the only one I could find in English was screenwriting that then everything kind of fell into place. And I was like, oh yeah, I really actually love movies and have been making them since I was a kid.
And how'd you end up in Norway?
I was visiting a friend on vacation and kind of, early 20s, mid 20s,
not knowing post-college?
Yes. Yeah. Not knowing what I wanted to do and was visiting her and just was like, oh, I'm going to move here. And when I got home, everything kind of fell into place. I got a work permit and a job online, like pretty easily, and moved there and lived there for 3 years.
Wow. You're actually, you're a citizen of the world, really.
Yeah. Well, to me, it feels like there's so many places I haven't been.
Well, yeah, it's a big world.
Yeah, but I've been lucky enough to see a big chunk of it.
Yeah, well,
and live there, not just
there's a big
vacation.
Difference living there, right, versus visiting, which is very cool. Yeah, because you could have spent the first 25 years without leaving Minnesota, and instead you've lived in the Caribbean on a sailboat and lived in Norway.
Yeah.
My goodness, that's fantastic.
Very lucky.
Yeah, and as far as college and everything, you were writing focused?
Yeah. So I went to an arts high school, a public school that just was like focused on art. And so my major in high school was literary arts. And then when I went to college, it was creative writing and English. And that was my focus.
Right. So solidly a writer.
Yes.
And that's where you applied your creative energy.
Manager at a restaurant. Because I didn't have any interest in teaching. I just wanted to write.
Right. And then in Norway, the only writing class was screenwriting, and that's in
English, yeah.
In English, right? And you had the upbringing playing with a video camera, so it kind of married your youth with what you had been working on.
Yeah, I had kind of dabbled in screenwriting before, like just myself, not formally trained, and then in Norway, I realized that I really loved it and loved the medium, and that was actually more suited to my skills than novel writing and short stories. Because the comment I would always get from people is, "Oh, you should just write screenplays," and I, didn't take that advice soon enough, I think.
It's kind of funny. Maybe that was even your youthful play with the video camera, making your writing more cinematic, more visual.
Yeah, I think so. I did read a lot, but the things that I just loved so much were films. And so I think that really, through osmosis, that's just informed how I wrote.
That's true. And is it true that, like, when you watch a lot of films as a family with those VHS tapes or whatever they were, DVDs, whatever, is it I mean, it sort of elevates the importance of cinema, right? Like to see your whole family admire this medium.
Yeah, I mean, it's a collective art experience. When you read a book, you're reading it by yourself, and even though you're not in everybody's head when you're watching a film, you know when everybody's laughing, you know when everybody's crying. Like it's just a different experience, and you know, it was it was just so much fun for us because our TV was a 12-inch TV, so it wasn't like big screen, and these were all back when VHS tapes existed.
Yeah, yeah.
And yeah, we would just, my sister and I would just quote these movies. We used to play this game where we would say a quote and try to trick each other and see if we could name what the film was. So we were just like obsessed with the dialogue and the rhythm of it and all of that.
Yeah, excellent. All right, so that class in English, that just, did it completely click for you that this is what you should have been doing?
Yeah, I loved it. I started listening to podcasts on screenwriting that would take place in LA. I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but Creative Screenwriting, I think that was the name of it, used to have a podcast where they'd screen a movie and then do a Q&A. And I was just like, I just want to go to LA and watch the movie and do all that and just be in it. So that mixed with the class, I just decided that this is what I need to do, and packed up in Norway and stopped in Minnesota for a month to see my family, and then drove out here and have been here ever since.
Drove out here and just got started with it? What was it like landing here? And had you visited here before?
I had never been here before.
So it was like completely new.
Yeah. I literally, I think I knew one friend who wasn't in the business, but had moved out here, and had just reached out to her and said, hey, I'm moving to LA. And my dad and I drove out here, and yeah, I just decided I wanted to do it. I didn't know what I was getting into, and luckily I loved it when I got here. But I was kind of like, even if I don't love it, I've lived so many places, I was like, it'll be fine. It can't be harder than moving to Europe.
That's true. Moving to a country where, well, I don't know if you spoke fluent Norwegian, but
I did not.
You did not.
I mean, they all
you
speak
had Spanish,
fluent English,
French, and,
but yeah,
true, especially in the capital. I
it's
guess.
it's still you don't understand all the rules and banking and just simple stuff like that. So I was like, at least it won't be that hard, and I just fell in love with LA immediately. Like I just knew the second I moved here. Like people talk about how hard it is and how bad traffic is and all that stuff, and I wasn't blind to all of those things, but I just didn't care. It's like when you're in love with somebody, you see their faults, but it's worth it.
It's you make me so happy as a third generation Angelino. It's always funny when people move here and say, I don't like it, and they start complaining about all these things, and I often go, well, it's optional.
You don't have to be
here.
Yeah.
Plus, when you're talking about all the flakes in LA, you're talking about the people who moved here. You're not talking about the people who grew up here. But
yeah.
Well, that's wonderful that you. So, how did it go work-wise when you landed here?
Well, I expected everybody to roll out a red carpet and just be like, "Oh, Cate Fogarty, new screenwriting hero is here," and that didn't happen. I got like an internship at a production company, even though I think it was an illegal internship because I wasn't in college, so it was kind of like free labor for them. But I agreed to it because I just wanted to like get my foot in the door. And I did that for a few months, and then when it was clear that they weren't going to hire me afterwards,
did they have you doing the coverage thing? Were you
yeah,
reading
I did
scripts?
coverage. I did, just the basic like getting lunch and coffee and all of that stuff. But I did coverage for the execs. I read everything that came in.
Which that's a really good experience, right?
Yeah.
Like reading, especially because you read a lot of bad scripts, and and it helps you avoid a lot of landmines, right?
Yeah. And I got to read probably the only one that I read that became a film was I read Spring Breakers by Corinne Harmony. And I had to write a one sheet on that for the executive who did not read the script. And I don't know if you've seen that movie, but it's pretty wild.
It's really dark, right?
Yeah, it's dark.
I
and
actually haven't seen it.
It's
just
with
aware of it.
Dave Franco. He plays a rapper from Florida named Alien, and these young girls that were mostly Disney stars at the time, Selena Gomez and other ones that I can't think of off the top of my head. It was kind of their first foray into serious dark film. People get murdered.
They're trying to prove
and
they've grown up.
Yes. And so before knowing any of who was going to be cast in it or anything like that, I just had to write a one sheet on what the story is. And it's, these girls go to spring break and end up, mowing people down with Uzis and things like that. And he called me into his office and he was like, "What is this movie?" But it's a fun movie.
Would you give it a recommend or not? Or were you, or as an intern, they didn't ask you for that?
No, they didn't ask me for that. They just wanted to know. They just basically wanted a synopsis.
Yeah.
So
they wanted to be, they wanted cliff notes so they didn't have to read anything.
Yeah, he was the type of exec that did not read scripts. So.
No, of course not. Why would you? Because what does that have to do with filmmaking?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, how do you know? And we wonder why stuff that comes out of the studio sometimes looks like no one was paying attention.
I will say it wasn't a big production company, so I do have hope that the bigger ones, they do read them. But for this one, he did not.
No, but they might pay their readers, so that might help. I don't know.
That's true. But yeah, I did that. And then, they weren't really interested in paying for that job. So after that internship ended.
And if you had said, "Hey, I wrote something, would you like to hear about it?" Was there an open door to that?
They were very nice. The exec wasn't really the path for him, but they had a writer. It's hard. It's kind of one of those things. If you've worked at some of these places or not gotten paid worked, it maybe makes more sense, but it's kind of like a group of people just hanging out sometimes. So there was a writer there and he very kindly, because they all knew that this was in exchange for experience. And so he offered to read one of my scripts and give me feedback on it. And it was not a good script. And he was very honest, which was hard, but appreciated, because I realized from that experience that I needed to get more formal training just for myself to learn how to write a screenplay.
And it sounds like you were a little more mature and a little more seasoned than the average kid who comes here as an intern, because you had a couple more years traveling and being in elsewhere. Yeah. So
I was, at the end of it, I was like, I would love to stay and work and just keep being. I was essentially the executive's assistant, and he, very politely was like, "I don't think we can pay you what you're worth." So, but thank you. And so then I ended up getting a day job as a massage therapist, which was what I had trained for and gotten my work visa in Norway for.
Oh, wow.
So it was kind of actors are also waiters. I was a massage therapist.
Which actually does make sense, because that's also a thing where you're often kind of more like an independent contractor and you can set your own hours and things?
Yeah, I worked at a place when I first got here just to get established, and then I did go on my own so I could have a very flexible schedule and take screenwriting classes and start making things with friends and
you did. So you started so you built up a crew of friends and LA based folks with similar interests.
Exactly. I started, I took screenwriting classes and then realized that I have you maybe have guessed this because you've seen Baby Husband, but I have kind of a very weird, quirky sense of story. And I didn't have any interest at the time in directing, I thought, but I was like, oh, I need to explain what this is to people. And so I started filming stuff just in the park with some friends, no money, bought some snacks, just begged everybody to help out. And, once you start doing that and you love and you want to keep doing it, you want it to get better. And so I
Right. So
just
your
started
original
leveling
idea
up.
was almost to shoot like proof of concept kind of ideas, just to like sort of have it come off the page so you could show people what it's like off the page.
Sort of. I mean, I didn't know anything about filmmaking, so I just thought, oh, I'm going to shoot this and it's going to be high quality. And then once you see it and you're like, oh, I need to pay for good sound. I need to like have actual lighting and have people that are trained in their craft to do this. I realized, they turned out to be more proof of concept than intended, but yes.
Got it.
And then I just started helping out on other people's projects and really loved it and just loved being on set so much. And
like indie shorts, any feature
shorts, music
stuff?
videos. I did work on features later after I became a professional, but in the beginning it was just like friends that wanted to make stuff and
and generally it's, financially it's going to be shorts early on, right?
Yeah. Oh, well, I didn't get paid, so
yeah.
I was just volunteering. They didn't need to pay me because I didn't know what I was doing.
I just mean like friends when they're I mean when you're helping out a friend's film, the odds that friend can afford to make a feature is low too,
yes,
right?
True.
Yeah.
And then in 2021, I was lucky enough. I mean, it was the pandemic lockdown, and I just had realized that I was devoting a lot of time to massage. Sorry, my stomach is going crazy. Can you hear it?
No. Good thing is the mics are good. If you get more than 6 inches away from the mic, so your stomach is far enough away.
Good. So I, like a lot of people, when the pandemic happened and everything shut down, I started evaluating where I wanted to spend my time and focus, and realized that I had created this really successful, amazing career in massage in LA, but I felt unfulfilled because it wasn't my dream. Loved doing it, loved the clients. It took me around the world. Like I said, like I went to Norway and then got to work in LA, but it just wasn't what I came to LA to do. So I was diagnosed with osteoarthritis, which is a problem that happens to a lot of massage therapists, but also it's just runs in my family. And so I needed a hip replacement, and it seemed like kind of just the perfect time to retire and just kind of go all in on filmmaking. And so I did that. And while I was in recovery, I applied for, I had constantly been applying for fellowships and just different programs just to try to figure out how to break in. And I was very lucky to get into a directing lab for beginners through Black Magic Collective. And from that, just like finally started working professionally in film.
Nice. Yeah. And that's the kind of program you got to be like AD stuff too, and like stuff that led to those kinds of roles, or was it really focused on being the director? Sort
of. So the program itself was focused on directing. It was kind of two programs put together. So there was the directing side, and then there was acting side. So actors would come in and we would work with, we had like a pool of actors that we would work with. And it was mostly, I don't know that we ever did any original scenes. It was kind of like scene study, but for directing. So we would get scenes from television shows or film that we'd picked, and we would give them to the actors and then just work on them in class. And then out of that, kind of like our final project was a 5-minute short film. And so that's when I made my first like professional, in quotations, short film. And and we didn't so much learn the skills of AD and things like that, but the executive director of the program really liked me, and she started recommending me for different jobs. And sometimes I was like, I don't know how to do that. Like she got me my first AD job, and I was like, I don't know how to first AD. And she was like, don't worry, I'm producing. I'll be there. I'll, mentor you through it. And then on the first day of production, her daughter got COVID. And, back in the day when it was like you had everybody that was within proximity. So she wasn't on set. So my very first AD job, I just had to like learn to do it as I was doing it. And but she recommended me for a lot of jobs and just like networking with people. And so I started out ADing small productions and PAing larger ones.
Very cool. And I didn't ask, the Black Magic program, was that like something you submitted a script to get into, or
for
like...
the directing lab, you submitted a reel of your work, and
so the stuff you'd done with friends paid off.
Yeah. So so the story is that I didn't actually officially get into the program. I submitted the stuff that I had done with friends, and it was not high quality, and put in like there's a whole writing package, not of scripts but like essay questions and things like that. And when I got the rejection, I sent them a very nice email, and I was like, thank you so much for this opportunity. I would just love more specific feedback on what I can do in the future to apply next year and get in. And that just started a dialogue with me and the executive director. And she was like, okay, I like you. I'll let you audit the program. So she was like, you don't get to officially do anything, but you can watch. And then within, I think, a week or two, she was like, okay, I really like you. You're a full-fledged fellow. And then like another week, she was like, okay, I'm going to make you the lead fellow. So it was just one of those things where I was just so grateful and so excited. And it was the only thing that I had ever gotten into that I was just there for all of it. And because I was lucky enough to have, I retired from my job. So I had a very open schedule. And so I was able to participate in all of the things.
You could say yes to everything.
Yes. Yeah. And so that's how that went. But officially, my work at that time was not quality enough to get in, but just by hard work and persistence, she let me in.
That's just about as important as anything.
I think so.
The hard work and persistence. I mean, honestly, though, I tend to have a bad attitude towards people who don't have those qualities, because I think no one's work is so great that it's going to overcome a lack of putting in the work. Like the people who show up and go, I'm a screenwriter. I want an office on a studio lot. And I'm like, you didn't say you have a story to tell.
Yeah.
You just want to be important.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. I think, and I think hopefully when you meet, I mean, it's not 100% true, but like when you meet people that are at the top of their games, you see that they do work really hard. I was a PA on Press Your Luck, which is a game show hosted by Elizabeth Banks. And she was so professional. So like not feeling well, still like, I mean, she not in a way to like get other people sick, but she had recovered from not being sick and would still show up on time. Like you could still see her work ethic. And so,
yeah. And you can see why she ended up being a film director and whatnot, right? Because if you're a workhorse and you never let up.
Yeah.
And you get a little bit of good fortune, you can, yeah. Excellent. So when did you first, and the whole time, are you still writing your own stuff?
Yeah. So I still writing, and like I said, in this program, we we didn't have to, it was optional because we had to pay for it ourselves, but we made a 5-minute short film. And so I was working on that, and and I just have always written, like since I found screenwriting, I just am constantly writing.
Right. So you have notebooks and things. You're an idea catcher.
So many notebooks. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've actually switched to an iPad now.
Right. But you can't be a writer if you don't save those ideas.
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
Excellent.
You have to just catch them when they float by.
And then were there scripts before Baby Husband that you shot, Or
Yeah. So the 5-minute short film that I made in that program was called Slut. It also a dark comedy about a woman that gets diagnosed with herpes on the day of her big date and starts hallucinating that everyone's calling her a slut. And so that was my first short film. And then I was writing some feature stuff too. I directed another short that I didn't officially write, but helped rewrite a little bit. So I was working on a bunch of different stuff.
I can't help but make the maybe I'll risk being cheesy and make an observation, which is you actually in your storytelling, and I now know of Baby Husband and Slut, you do one of my favorite things, which is you take something internal, something that's really just internal with humans, and then on screen you make it external.
Yeah, thank you. I love doing that. It's one of my favorite things too. And I think I like reading, I read a lot of like Latin American novels when I was young and just really fell in love with the magical realism of that type of storytelling. And I also had an amazing screenwriting teacher who was always like, externalize. Like, nobody can tell what's going on in somebody's head. I mean, sometimes good actors you can, but you can't sustain a whole film on that. And so always just trying to figure out how to, make that work externally.
And you seem like a very introspective person, and you're aware of your thoughts and feelings, and so when you're writing characters, you're aware of theirs, and you get their thoughts and feelings on screen. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I try to. That was, one of the things that I think maybe is why people always told me that I needed to write screenplays, not novels, but also you always have to learn to do that when you're screenwriting, is just like how to make it clear to the audience of what is happening.
That's the tight wire walk, right? Of making things clear while also trusting them.
Yeah. I once, I was talking to a screenwriter and we were talking about this script that she had written. And I was like, I think we just have to clarify this, whatever. And she's like, well, it's clear to me. And I just laughed. And I was like, that is the struggle of screenwriting. It's always clear to the writer.
I know exactly what I'm trying to say. That is funny. All right. Well, so, and then, and you directed Slut as part of the program. And then I take it you really enjoy directing.
I do. I love it. And I'm so lucky. I mean, it's my full-time job. Like, I'm really lucky that I get to do this thing that I got to do when I was a kid that I didn't even think was a job. So, yeah.
Right. And so what other things have you been working on?
So I'm a full-time filmmaker. So I write, direct, produce films. And if anyone in LA has been here during the strikes and all of this knows, like, the main thing happening right now are what are called vertical series. And so that's my main focus right now
Oh, you got into the vertical thing.
Yeah.
It's funny. We've had some staffers come to me, and I've had staffers come to me and talk about the vertical thing like last year. And I was like, what? Because I'm out of touch. And they're like, dude, you wouldn't believe the viewer numbers, and you wouldn't believe they're actually paying. Yeah. And I was like, you're right. I don't understand it. And believe me, it's even a debate at the festival level now. Like, do we have a vertical category? Do we give into that? Because I hate the idea of sitting in that theater with a 65-foot screen and only using the middle 15, 20 feet.
Yeah. I haven't been to any, but they actually have vertical festivals now.
Yeah. And I mean, it kind of makes sense, because I also am somebody who I do insist on respecting all the niches inside the art form. And just because it is vertical doesn't make it invalid.
Yeah. Yeah. It's definitely its own medium. I wouldn't compare it to film or television. It's, it's just like its own thing.
Serialized storytelling?
Serialized storytelling in 40-second to 90-second increments.
Yeah, like under 2 minutes no matter what. Under 90 seconds, you're saying?
Generally, yeah. Generally. I mean, so I've had shows
but yet there's a story that goes through. Like,
yes,
you're doing whole seasons. It really is like a mini series of micro shorts.
Exactly.
So I guess I understand it, even if I pretend I don't. Jeez.
Yeah. Each episode isn't really like a standalone show. It's not like a short, but it is, it's like watching a soap opera, essentially.
Yeah, and it's very cliffhangery at the end.
Just very fast. Yeah. Yeah. There's always either a cliffhanger or some kind of, in some ways it's not that different because you always want people to keep reading and stay in it. But just based on the medium, you have to be a little bit more tighter and catchier sometimes than a film.
But you've written comedy, and you obviously there's people talk about jokes per page or laughs per page and whatnot, and if you went 2 pages without something funny in a comedy, you have to ask yourself, well, maybe we did need that little pause, but yeah. The show, I'm actually not an anti-short attention span person. I realize, because you get bored during a 2-hour movie too. So
yeah, and like I said, I wouldn't compare these to film or television. I mean, I love film and television so much, but I have really found that verticals, not only do they keep me employed and pay my rent, but I've found a way to make them fun and have a great time doing those.
So you're actually, and I don't mean to project intense positivity on you, but you've actually managed to take this form that I know a lot. Most of the people I've talked to shit on it, even when they're working on it, and they don't even care about quality. But you're actually doing the thing where you're doing it and you're using the opportunity it provides, and you're making something you can be proud of.
Yeah, 100%. I mean,
that makes you like a knight in shining armor.
Well, thank you. Some days it doesn't feel that way, but yeah, I mean, my husband is he hates it when I refer to them this way, but he's a huge B movie genre fan. We have a whole wall of DVDs and VHS and Blu-rays, and a big chunk of them are by Roger Corman. And for people that know,
definitely in the world of so bad it's good.
Yeah, and for people that know about Roger Corman, I mean, so many Oscar winners came out of his stable of filmmakers. So Martin Scorsese, Peter Bogdanovich, James Cameron, Ron Howard.
Yeah, he gave them all
on
a shot.
And on and on and on. And they all got their start with him. And people look down on those films and say that they're so bad that they're, good or whatever. But the filmmakers use them to learn their craft and to understand how to deliver what, the client or the studio or whoever wants, and then also what the audience wants, and just use it for practice. So that's how I look at verticals.
Yeah, for sure. And it's totally valid that is the Corman of the new era.
Yeah.
Where you can, the door is more open.
Yeah. And it wasn't that Roger Corman couldn't make good movies. He made a film, I can't remember the name of it, but stars William Shatner, and it was his passion project about racism in the South, and it just didn't do well. Critically, it did well, but financially it didn't do well because he had built this audience that was looking for the monster movie and, the exploitation film and all of that. So you got to keep your passion projects separate from your commercial work sometimes. And that's also what I'm learning with verticals.
I just have to share a funny story. My aunt's dad had been a screenwriter in the 50s and 60s and had a good amount of success, but he always told me a story of a Corman type guy who every film was $100,000 budget. And someone said to him at dinner once, well, what would you do with $1 million? And he rubbed his hand together and said, oh boy, 10 pictures.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
It's like there's just they have no dream of going higher. It's like, this is what I do.
Yeah.
And they do it well. And there's an audience.
And it teaches you to be innovative and, hopefully we won't live in this budget range for our whole careers, but,
No, I mean, I've heard Cameron go on and on about how the stuff he learned making,
he did VFX for Corman.
Yeah.
It's,
Yeah, I remember some stories he told. Yeah, so it's great training.
Yeah, and like Jack Nicholson, there's a documentary on Roger Corman where they interview Jack Nicholson, who literally cries, like breaks into tears, talking about how amazing Roger Corman was because he kept him sustained for the first 10 years of his career. We wouldn't have Jack Nicholson as we know him, his career, without Roger Corman.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, because Hollywood was never going to embrace such an odd-looking dude.
Yeah, and he was a screenwriter and an actor for him.
Yeah. In fact, random tangent, but I saw an interview with him where he said he's not a great actor, he's a great writer, and he rewrites every part he plays. So that's why he said, the reason you think I'm a good actor is because I don't rewrite anyone else's dialogue. But if you hire me to act, I'm telling you in advance that I'm going to fix anything I think needs to be fixed that I'm going to say.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's kind of how I feel about it. Like I don't want to be too rose-colored glasses. Like I've definitely worked on vertical projects where, they're so low budget and people don't care and they're not fun and it's kind of a drag, but this is my creative partner and my dream. Like we get to do what we have always wanted to do. And okay, we have to answer to the client and the medium and do what they want. We can't make, I don't know, a Nora or one battle after another. Like you can't do that in verticals, but you can get inspired by those films and bring some of it to them.
Yeah. And were you doing those, were those before, after and during Baby Husband or?
After.
And was there
After.
stuff before, was there stuff in between Slut and Baby Husband?
Yeah. So between Slut and Baby Husband. So Baby Husband was really special to me because that was my first year of working professionally in film. I worked on different features and like a couple television shows and a bunch of short films and stuff like that, and just met people. And so I assembled this team of people that I'd met at all different jobs and brought them together for Baby Husband. And that was really cool because it was the most fun at that time that I had on set because everybody was so great and so into it. But the vertical thing came after that. I was working and then, the strikes happened and things slowed down a lot. And so I got retrained as a script supervisor because I was trying to figure out, okay, I don't want to go the AD path. It's such a hard job and like people that do it well, so much respect for them, but it wasn't for me. My brain can't handle that kind of anxiety about timing and things like that. Like I'd rather be the director and just be like, you just tell me how much time I have and I'll make it work. And so I studied script supervising and got hired. Who's now my creative partner, she was directing her first vertical through another friend that we had met in the Blackmagic directing lab, because I met her in that lab as well, and asked me if I would be her script supervisor, and I did. And within a few months we had gone to Canada, and then we just like both had the same feeling about it, where it's like, okay, these are a little weird sometimes, and some of the scripts seem maybe written by AI and things are a little off, but we're able to like find a way to elevate them a little bit and have a good time doing them. And and they took us around the world. We went to China last year and did one. And then we decided to form our own creative studio and got hired by a European company that we mostly work with now. And we've been able to write, direct, and produce our own verticals.
That's amazing.
And our first one had 25 million views. And that, I mean,
And are they going on
different apps?
different apps? Yeah. Because it's always, there's a ton of apps.
Yeah, I don't even know.
There's a ton of apps.
I don't even know. There's at least 150 probably.
And the people I know who work in it ask me, they set me up to be wrong, and they go, what do you think? How much do you think this subscription is? And I'll say something like, I don't know, $4.99 a month. And they go, try 18 a week. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, wow, this is the smartest place to be.
Yeah. Yeah. They have different tiers, but they're definitely, when you first hear about them, you're like, what? Why? You can watch Netflix on your phone if you wanted to for the same subscription price that you're paying, $18 a month or whatever it is. But verticals have a whole different.
As well.
It doesn't suit the medium, and it's a totally different audience.
Yeah.
And
you need something quick if you're looking at your phone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they get attached to the actors and the stories in the vertical realm. Like, the people that watch them aren't stupid. They know that they're like crazy stories and very soapy, but they love it. There's something charming about it, that they love it and it brings them joy. So
yeah. All right. So that all happened post Baby Husband. So do you want to talk about Baby Husband and what inspired it and all that? I mean, it's kind of potentially obvious.
Yeah. So I have a friend who very cheekily said, "Oh, is this the documentary about your husband?"
And you have a very clear disclaimer at the end.
Yes.
Where you excuse both your husband and any men you may have dated who might resemble this.
That might be sarcasm.
I think it was. I definitely understood that it was sarcasm.
So I can only speak to my personal experience as a heterosexual woman in relationships with cis straight men, but there is sometimes this feeling that the work imbalance, or there's a work imbalance, like there's just like a gendered discrepancy between the duties of the household. And most of the time I think it's pretty funny. and every once in a while it's not so funny. I think I've heard from enough women that can relate. So I know it's not just me. But the true story about how this film came about is it was the pandemic, and like a lot of people in LA, my husband and I were just sitting at home, drinking too much, maybe participating in too many edibles. And one night I was getting ready for bed and I opened his drawer and I thought I saw, it's like a suction cup for babies' noses in it. And it just made me laugh so hard. And I was like, oh my gosh, what if you were an actual baby? Like, what if this whole time I didn't know that you were a baby and that's why you're annoying me so much? And I laughed for like 30 minutes and he was like, it's not that funny. And and it was just this idea that just made me laugh really hard. And I just started writing this goofy little short film about it. And then had to do the work of taking what was just like this random idea in my head and trying to make it work cinematically and all of that. And then, and like I said, assembled this team of people and just had a great time doing it.
And wonderful. And then what do I want to say? I think I want to say that it's funny because for me now, I've seen it. I watched it again last night because I thought it would be fun. I figured it'd be better than trying to cram it in this morning.
Yeah.
And after this, it was probably the third or fourth time, including the one at the theater in June. And I realized what hooks me now is actually not the baby gag as much as your lead character and just how her beleagueredness.
Yeah.
I believe you call her beleaguered housewife. Beleaguered wife.
Yeah.
It's just so true.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's so resonant. I think I have a proud memory that somebody in the audience during your Q&A at Film Invasion LA like put up their hand and said, is this like, is baby husband a real thing? And I'm like, I think I might have said, this is a real thing.
Yeah.
I've had lots of people use
Yeah.
this term with me.
Yeah.
Not about me, by the
Yeah.
way.
Yeah. Good.
I might defensively add that I'm the caretaker in this household.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that's why it works.
Yeah. And like I said, like, I think I watched this TikTok video not too long ago of this psychologist, couples therapist, talking about how there's often just an imbalance in responsibilities in all relationships, because we just kind of like think of everything as 100%. And so if somebody is just always giving 60, 70, 80, the other person just usually does whatever the remainder is, rather than, and for whatever reason, it's just a pattern that we do as humans. And so, I think, like, whether it's your husband or your spouse or, your work partner or whatever, like, there's often a thing where it's like one person is doing a lot of the work and it feels like picking up a lot of the slack, and it can be really frustrating. And so I just wanted to write something funny about it, because usually I find people are more willing to listen when they're laughing than when they're being lectured.
For sure. And I guess that's why your lead character appeals to me so much, because the expressions on her face are truly the humor.
Yeah.
Like she's so funny.
Well, that's Christine Weatherup. She's amazing. She's a writer, director, actress, so talented. And she was also in that Black Magic Collective lab that I was in. She was in it as an actor, and she's just amazingly talented and can really do anything. Drama, comedy. She also sings. And I just knew from working with her in class that she was going to be perfect. Like, she just has that great mix of being a real person, but also getting the joke and having great comedic timing. And so, yeah, she was brilliant.
And it was a fun one. It was a fun writing process and a fun shooting, and you worked with all your favorite people, it sounds like.
Yeah, I did. And it was really great. And I'll never forget, I had an amazing, I actually had two, on short films, like the titles sometimes get a little squishy because people are doing so many jobs and different things, but I essentially had two production designers. So Ash Cron handled all of the baby rigs, and I had written in the script that he was on crutches or something, on stilts, like the baby husband was on stilts. And when she read the script, she was kind of like, how are you going to do that? And I was like, I don't know. Let me know what you think. And so she came up with the tower of blocks. And when she sent me the video of that finished, we just all lost our minds. And I was like, oh, I know this is going to work. I know people are going to think this is really funny, because it was so hysterical.
That's true, because you actually did write yourself a challenge. Because with magical realism, you wrote something unreal that you had to sell.
Yeah, and I looked into VFX, because at the time I was watching What We Do in the Shadows, that TV show, and they had baby Colin Robinson. And so that didn't inspire the short, but when I was thinking about making it, how I was going to actually do the baby husband, I was like, oh, that's really funny and that looks cool. And then I quickly was like, I don't have the money for that. I don't have FX money. So I was talking to my friend who edited it, and he was like, he's really into puppets. He has done a lot of work with puppetry and things like that. And he's like, I think practical is actually really funny. And my husband reminded me of Ernest. I don't know if you remember any of the Ernest movies, Ernest Goes to Camp or things like that. Like, I'm very old, but he had this character where he played a baby, and it was just his head cut into a mattress. And we watched that, and it's so funny. And so, so when I talked to Ash Cron about what to do, she was just like, yes, I have a lot of great ideas. And she was like, I think instead of this, he's on a blocks tower and all of this stuff. And so when she sent me the sample videos, I was just like, yeah.
Yeah, and honestly, it's part of the humor too, the fact that it is practical, and we obviously understand that you have a cutout in a chair and a man sticking his head through. We're not
fooling anyone.
It's just a funny image.
Yeah.
I mean, so you don't have to sell it as like so realistic.
Yeah.
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 In fact, I think that is it all adds to the humor of it.
Yeah, I agree.
And shame on the people who take things too seriously in life, are like, well, I'm not sure if he could have fooled her that long.
Yeah.
I just can't. I just can't.
It is. That is, it is, like I said, comedy is subjective, and that is a valid opinion, I think.
Well, she had to find out sometime, and this is what she did. You could have said it 2 years earlier. Could have been, what I mean?
Yeah. I think that's one of the things where a short film will save you a little bit more than a feature sometimes, because like to sustain that kind of gag for a feature, maybe you do have to explain it a little bit more than I did. But
but Hollywood just make it Jim Carrey and do super fancy effects, and
that's
it would work.
That's true.
Probably would work as a feature, to be honest.
Yeah.
It would just get way more fun.
Yeah. If anybody wants to make the feature, just to reach out.
Excellent. And so you're writing all the time. So inspire the vertical thing is the bread and butter now.
Yeah.
But are you still cooking up ideas for more shorts, or are you thinking, do you want to do a feature sometime, or?
Definitely. Yeah. I want to keep making my own stuff. I mean, the verticals are sustaining me right now, and I enjoy them a lot, but I have a plan for a short film that I want to shoot. I have a script that is done okay in some contests and things, and so I'm going to try to enter another one to get the funding for it. That's also a comedy. It's a little bit more dramedy-esque, but that's kind of right on the horizon. And then I have some feature ideas, and still try, and like a web series that I'm trying to figure out if I'm gonna. I had shot what became a proof of concept, because at the time I thought, oh, this is so good, and then it's made in the park with no production value. But so I want to rewrite those scripts as possibly episodic for television or streaming, something like that. But yeah, I want to keep making more stuff. Yeah. My creative partner and I are planning to write a mockumentary.
Yeah. And I'm only asking because you are sort of on the cutting edge of something, which is, is there an argument to try to do more vertical that's just more for yourself, because there's an audience for it?
Yeah.
And, webs, you know what I mean? Like we don't even know where TV's headed now.
Yeah.
Because they're going to keep gobbling each other up, and we're going to be down to 3 networks again.
Yeah, I know.
And there'll be 3 gatekeepers.
I know. And, that's not too far off from what vertical apps are like too. Like, one company owns several apps, so it's not like there's all this competition. I don't know. I'm not maybe great at predicting where this is all going. But for now, I don't think that verticals are that avenue, just because their audience, it's kind of like the Roger Corman story about like his passion project. Like right now, that audience is very specifically in tune with what verticals are in the moment. And I think as they become more mainstream, that could definitely shift. I have people reach out to me all the time, that think, oh, there could be this kind of vertical or that. And right now the market is pretty specific in what and what the client
and you
wants.
can't go over the 90 seconds, and you can't. Yeah, you can't.
Yeah, like our shows, we have episodes that are longer, but like the client has now asked that we keep them shorter. So we've tried, like, you're always putting your own spin on everything. You know, when you're a television director, you're a hired hand, but you're hired maybe for your specific voice or something that you do really well. Doesn't mean that you get to change the show. You don't get to change the tone or anything like that. Like, you have to work within those constraints. And so I think that that's how verticals are right now. But, you know, in China, they have such a wider audience, and they have a wider, they have more genres of verticals in China than we currently do here. So we'll see where it goes. Like, I don't think verticals are going anywhere. And so, you know, in a year or 5 years, maybe we'll be seeing like Martin Scorsese making his vertical or something. I don't know. But
his will be 3 hours.
Oh, I mean, at least. At least. But I think it was Damien Chazelle did like a Apple iPhone commercial that was shot vertically a few years ago. So I think we'll see what happens. But in the moment, it's like I do get to put a little bit of a spin on what we're making. We did a rom-com not too long ago that we got to do some funny stuff. It was a gender swap, so got to squeeze in my little feminist comedy here and there. Every once in a while, the client would sometimes be like, okay, that's enough. But so we get to do that. I got to hire my actress for my very first short film, Slut, to be in my last vertical. Yeah, so we get to do it that way, but I don't personally see that as a path towards like making my feature or things like that. And I don't think, somebody asked me once, do I think that we're going to suddenly see movie theaters that have the, you know, what I always get confused. Is it the 9:16 like oriented
9:16
screen?
Is the
and I don't think so.
And I keep picturing like at some point the screen will be a square so they can put any size in it.
Yeah.
That it won't be so undersized. Because right now the problem is, right, if you put a 9:16 into a 16:9, it's
just
tiny.
so much dead space. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't necessarily see that.
No, they're not going to
happening.
Change every theater on the planet.
Yeah, and well, I don't even see like them creating new theaters for verticals.
No.
They're shot for your phone,
Yeah.
and they kind of, it's almost like junk food, right? Like it has an expiration date. Like it tastes good when it's hot and fresh and like in the moment, but if you try to reheat that or make it something it's not, I don't think it works as well. For now, we'll see what happens in the future.
It's French fries. They suck as leftovers,
Yes.
but they're great when they're fresh.
Yeah.
Like the best thing
You
in the
know,
world.
it's maybe not healthy for you, and like there could be something that's maybe a little tastier, but they're salty and they're, you know, fatty, and we're all enjoying them.
Excellent.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think we've reached where you're at now.
Yeah.
And I'm good to hear that you still have your eye on more, and Lord knows. Well, I'm glad you had a good impression of our festival, so that
It was really fun.
When you make another film, you'll send it our way.
100% top of the list.
And we'll make we have your, I know your Instagram is not too hard to figure out. It's just your name, Cate Fogarty, at Cate Fogarty on Instagram. So people should check that out and follow you. I assume you probably don't promote your verticals on there.
We do.
Oh, you do?
Yeah,
Cool.
we do. I said,
should I be scared to start them? I'll get addicted.
You know, they're not for everybody is what I'll say. But yeah, I mean, my husband, who is not into them, like there are some where he's like, I just got to know. I can't help myself. I just have to know. And the way that they work is you get a certain number of episodes for free, and then there's a paywall. And so you have to decide if it's worth.
It really is the drug dealer method.
Yes, it really is.
It really is. It's so funny.
It's the attention economy. Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
Holy moly. All right. Well, we will make your Instagram a clickable link in the show notes.
Thank you.
Which is my segue to wrap this up.
Yeah.
But first, I'm going to thank you, Cate, for being here.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been great.
Yeah, thank you. And everyone listening, if you go to discoverindiefilm.com, you can learn all about this podcast. On social media, it's always at DIFWins. But I always add the caveat that I've quit social media almost for a whole year now. So if you write to us on there, my wonderful podcast producer, Karina, will read it. And if you ask something really challenging, she will forward it to me. But I stay away from social media. So discoverindiefilm.com is for the podcast. If you go to discoverindiefilm.org, that is the nonprofit that runs Film Invasion Los Angeles, where we had the world premiere of Baby Husband. It also has a sister festival, the Sherman Oaks Film Festival, that we hold every December. So there's one in June and one in December. So, boy, I used to have a little time off between them, but now they've grown. So I should be happy that they've grown. But I used to really have some time off. So anyway, don't complain. So discoverindiefilm.org is where you can learn about both festivals. And I call them sister festivals. And their cousin, they're going to have a cousin that when this podcast is released, I believe it will be about a week or two ago, which is Film Invasion Lima in Peru. Was in January of 2026.
Wow.
So cool. I won't bother explaining how it happened, but it happened in a very natural way, and I'm very supportive of the team down there running it, and it's gonna be fun. I couldn't fly down this year, but we've agreed January is too close to the December Sherman Oaks Film Festival, so I'm like, can we make it February in 2027 so that I can have a little time to recover in between and then fly down? So I think we agreed.
Oh, that'd be great.
Yeah, it's groovy, and I hear Lima's amazing.
Yeah, I've never been, but I have heard the same.
I've never been, and I will share this, which is the theater that they rented is gorgeous, and it's in the Spanish Quarter, where the Natural History Museum and all the palaces, so it's Spanish architecture, which of course might bring up the subject of colonialism, but I won't go there. but it is always cool to be in South America, and all of a sudden you step into Spain for 5 blocks, and then you step back. But anyway, it's there, and I won't even. When we stop recording, I'll tell you how inexpensive the theater is to rent. But
oh my God!
Needless to say, it's going to be a good festival. I guess I should say it was, even though I'm recording this weeks before. But anyway, all right. So that takes care of those, and I don't think there's anything else I'm supposed to mention. Thank you again.
Thank you.
And thank you everyone for listening.